Welcome to the Alkalign Lifestyle podcast, where we delve into the essence of living a bioelectric life through mind, body, spirit alignment. Join us as we explore the transformative power of an alkaline plant-based diet, herbal cellular cleansing, chakra alignment, meditation, and intentional living. Discover how raising the vibration of your cells can lead to infinite health and well-being. Our episodes cover topics ranging from nutrition and mental health issues to stress management and healthy movement and relationships. Get ready to embark on a journey towards becoming the greatest version of yourself and tune in to elevate your consciousness and embrace the alkaline lifestyle. I'm your host and guide today, Fidelis Noka II. Thank you guys for joining me. Today I'll be talking to you guys about selfishness. You need to be selfish. So it may sound a little off to say that. To many people, they don't want to be selfish. They think being selfish is bad. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. So, selfishness has not many parts. You just got to look at it based on intention. Why should you be selfish? What is the point of being selfish? What's it going to do for you? What's it going to give for you? And I'm here to tell you that there's no way for you to advance or grow in life unless you become selfish. So, here, I'll break it into a few parts. All right, so let's start with the part of self-care. Okay, selfishness in terms of self-care. You need to be selfish in order to grow your mind, your body, and your spirit. If you're not selfish, there's no way for you to do this. Because what happens is you never actually understand that there's one voice all around, and that one voice uses everything around you to speak to you. You never understand that that's the one voice called the source or the creator or God. You never understand it's always talking to you at every moment in time, point in space, because you never actually stopped yourself from listening to everything and changing your perspective on everything. So, okay, so life is about surrendering. It's not about going to go accumulate much. It's not about having to store things or hoard things. It's not about saying, I'm here and you're there. People think selfishness means separation, which we'll get into after this, right? Here, self-care. But it's not. You're never separated from anything or from anyone. So, it's cause and effect. You get back what you're putting out, but people don't know what they're putting out. So the reason for selfishness and self-care is this. Everyone has a different level that they're at, that they're playing at. And you have what's called a reference set. Your reference set is based upon what's happened in your history, what's happened in your life, what's gone through from ages 0 to whatever age you are right now, okay? That's your reference set. You can always refer back to, if I go here, I'm gonna get this experience. If I go there, I'm gonna get this experience. But that's not actually the case. What happens is you develop a preference set, right? You say, I lived here, or I live here currently, I wanna live there. I drive this, but I wanna drive that. I make this much amount of money, I wanna make this much amount of money. My body looks this way, I want my body to look this way. You start to see that you're in a constant state of changing, because that's what nature does. It never stays the exact same. It's always flowing, it's always moving, which means you need to be flowing, you need to be moving. But you have to develop a new preference set. How you get there is simply by making a decision. The word decision is scary for people because people are so indecisive, because they know once they make a decision, a conscious decision, they have to actually commit to that decision that they made, and they can't go back to the other thing. If you say, I decide to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, I decide that means you cut yourself off from not doing that. Meaning now you're gonna be obsessed with, I have to lose 20, 30 pounds. And if I don't do this, something's gonna be in separation in my heart. because that's my preference set and my reference set. My reference is what my current weight is. My preference set is what I want my weight to be. You're gonna see it in about 2-3 weeks when New Year's comes. Everyone's gonna have their resolutions coming out. 2025, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna make this much amount of money. Okay, look, y'all can do it if you don't decide to do it. So people don't actually decide to do anything. They just say, I'm gonna try to do this. Well, okay, that word, trying, words like maybe, those don't actually exist in this conscious field. It doesn't actually know what that is, because you can't actually do that. There's either this side or this side, right? The yin yang, sun, moon, light, dark, night, day. They don't have no light, kind of dark, kind of light, and then dark, right? Or like night and then kind of morning, mid-morning. You see how we be doing that stuff? Mid-morning, mid-afternoon. That's not. There's night and day. That's really it. There's night and day. But you see people try to like micromanage things. They try to just cut it into smaller and smaller pieces so that they can make excuses for something, right? It's kind of mind-blowing, like how you start to see how people talk. You hear how they talk. They can't just say yes or no. People will find every way to justify why they can't make a decision. And if you can't make a decision, you basically start to lose energy. So most people are so low energy because they can't make a decision. Indecision causes a waste of energy. It's basically wasted emotion. So on the basis of self-care, right, you need to get your physical body together. First thing you need to do to get your physical body together is make a decision. What do you want your physical body to look like? You've got to find a self-image, draw it up, write it out in full detail. If that means that you want to be able to bench press 200 pounds, write that down as a goal. Wherever you are today, put that down. And then you're going to develop a plan to get to 200 pounds. You want to have a stronger squat, right? A personal record or whatever you want to do. That's fine. That's up to you. That's your business. That's what makes you happy. But you have to write down where you are, A, and where you're going, B. You have to do that. And if you don't find a way to make a decision to say that's what you really want, you're not going to actually stick with it. So, physical body. What I, suggest to people, which is what I suggested for myself, is I want freedom of movement. I want freedom of movement. Freedom from tightness, tension, holding anything inside of my body. I do not desire any of that. I want to have freedom of movement. I want to be physically strong, incredibly fast, incredibly, not only neutral, but I want to be able to move when I want to move, how I want to move, and just feel good inside my own body. That's my ultimate goal. So the plans that I have, that I create for training, I create plans based on freedom of movement. My range of motion, I want my arm to be able to go all the way around, not have any pain. My legs, I want my feet, my hands to be strong. I want everything to be strong. That's me. Attention to detail in everything. I don't desire any injuries, period. And it's not that you can, it's not that you're trying to avoid anything. You're just making yourself strong enough to absorb things. That's what I say. So physically, develop a plan, make a decision, okay, and cut yourself off from not going to act upon that decision. Many people find a way to say it's not important. You find a way to say, me serving is important, right? Like, I'm an entrepreneur myself. Many entrepreneurs out there. They serve customers, clients, people all over the world, right? Your clients are not actually as important as you. Because if you don't get to a point of 100% inside of your body and fill up your own cup in maximum capacity in terms of energy and vitality, you're not giving your clients and your customers what they truly deserve. It's the 100% highest quality version of yourself, or whatever you can create for them. You aren't giving it to them if you don't first give it to yourself. So therefore, people have it backwards. People have this whole thing backwards. So physically, if you don't have the capacity to be able to serve, it's because you didn't build yourself up to have that capacity so that you can serve. So it's your fault. That's it. It's your fault. You weren't selfish enough in terms of self-care and physical self-care. So you can look at relationships. A lot of times you see relationships, you'll have one side that goes in to do something, right? You'll have the man, either he'll be physically fit and active, or the woman, she'll be physically fit and active, and then she won't have the support of her partner, or he won't have the support of his partner. And what happens is you have one person that's going towards this way, another person's going towards this way, and so instead of being on the same pathway towards growth up the ladder, you start separating yourself, going into like a Y shape. So like it starts to go out like this. It's supposed to be going like this. Now you can go like this, right? You know, maybe I'll be a little more fit. This person, you know, might not come with me, but then they'll come back together and then might be a little bit. But people are doing like this in this day and age. They're going way out. You know, and it's like, nah, you've got to come back. You know, your number one fan should be yourself first. First of all, it should be yourself. And after it should be yourself, it should be whomever else that you are tangled with. Because if your number one fan is yourself, that means number one fan is God. Because you're serving the creator within you before anybody else. So physical fitness is important because you cannot have a spiritual body, you cannot accept a higher consciousness from the field if you don't have the capacity to get that higher consciousness within you. You have to be ready to receive it. So if you're overweight, if you're fat, if you're tired, if you're sluggish, if you're toxic, what I mean by toxic is chemical. Okay, chemical. Chemical meaning you've been poisoned by your own self behaviors. And yes, it's a way to look at it from you are the creator of autoimmune diseases and all these things I've talked about in my past videos. You're the person that makes all these things come up. So if you can now become selfish on your physical self-care, now you have a body that prevents sabotaging behavior. You don't do it anymore. Because if you have pure thoughts that come into your body, you don't desire unpure food, you don't desire unpure relationships, you start to shift your perspective. There's something that's impeding your progress. You aren't doing it to yourself anymore. So, first thing about self-care, physical fitness. You gotta be able to accept the energy from the field and power yourself up. Exercise is the best version of creating energy. Not caffeine, not coffee, not energy drinks, not tea. No, I'm not saying like you don't ever do it in your lifetime because, you know, coffee, just like anything, is an herb. You know, tea, that comes from herb, plants, comes from plants, it comes from the ground. Just how is it made? How is it processed? What water are you using? Stuff like that. That's gonna come up too. So, you know, your diet, what you're eating. So chemical toxicity is in all fast food, all pharmaceuticals, especially in this country. I'm not saying that, you know, other countries, I'm not there, but in this country, the United States of America, yeah, it's in everything. They allow crap and everything. They allow garbage and everything. Just because, you know, just because there's a choice. Profits over health here in most cases. So physical fitness, make a decision to cut yourself off. That's what decide means. It means you cut yourself off from not having something. So you want health, cut yourself off from not having health. Make the decision to commit to your physical healthy body, all right? And then now let's keep going, self-care. Emotional self-care. You don't have to participate in anxiety or depression or anything that's not gonna serve your mind. You can stay at a neutral place the entire time. You don't have to make a decision, an opinionated judgment on anything until you actually know the clarity that you have within yourself about yourself. How much knowledge about something that you know. People make flash judgments on other people. They don't even know that person. People make flash judgments on themselves. If you don't know yourself, you don't judge anybody else because you can't make a judgment on somebody else. I used to do it, find myself doing it. You know, and then finally I was like, wait, how do I know? I don't know this person. Like, just tell the truth. I don't know this person. I never met this person for my life. I'm seeing them for what they, from what they put out or what they are, but I don't actually know this person. So why am I speaking on something that I don't actually know, right? And so you stop making assumptions, jump into conclusions. You just start participating in a better way of life, and you stop participating in an awful way of life, which is assumption. Okay, because of the whole. The whole is looking at pointing the finger, and it's like, no, that's not it. I recently just went to the movies. Actually, I got to go watch the movie Wicked, which was Ariana Grande is like a musical. I'm talking about the Wicked Witch, right, in the Wizard of Oz. And the movie is actually really insightful. It's very, very cool how they did it, because I love musicals. I love to hear people sing, and I love sound. But basically what they were talking about was how the Wicked Witch wasn't actually wicked at all. and how she was basically made out to be a certain thing or person based on society and what society accepted, and what she was just a person that was, she beats to her own, drum or way of thinking. She's just completely different. That's all it was. She was just a person that was completely different, accepted who she was and loved who she was, loved the animals, loved serving people, loved serving things, and then that was it. But people will look at the witch on the broomstick in Halloween and look at it like something that's evil, but that's not it. So the whole thing is, you grow up like that, subconsciously programming yourself into a bad way, and you don't even know you do that. But you didn't go to Hollywood to realize that Hollywood was basically casting a spell on your mind. So now you grew up, thinking Cinderella or whatever, like princess this, and you grew up thinking that that's how your reality is supposed to be. That's not it. That's not how it works. See? So when you really get the actual information, you can come from a neutral perspective. You don't have to participate in that no more. You don't have to say that this is right or wrong. When you're a child, learning what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, you don't need to use that language when you're a child, because you don't know anything until you become an adult, which is like, oh, okay, all right, I can separate. If I go through a red light, that's wrong, because I need to stop. But a green light says I can go, that's right. Yeah, when you're actually in a place where you need to have that, you'll have that. As a child, you need to have experimentation, because many people have this thing about failure. That's where you develop these judgments on failure and on shame and on guilt, right? Recently, today, actually, before I came to do my recording today, I had a friend that I met years back, and I basically met him again at my gym that I go to go train, old school Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, right? And I just read him again recently, and he invited me on my way out of the gym. He invited me to get up early for a run with like a little community group he's doing. It's all about energy. He's an awesome dude. So Stephen Selly, I'll leave his link below so you guys can check him out. But Steve, I got to meet up with all these people. Just a good group of people. It's a change in what I was doing, right? And it's like all these people I was in there seeing, they had different beliefs, different patterns, but we all were able to make it up at one time to get up and then go put some work in this morning. It's like, how many people would you actually get up to change a pattern of how your life is going or how you're seeing your life going, right? You've got to be a person that's willing to be unique. And that's what I learned. Just going out to say hello every now and then, just going out to just be different and making different changes, is just change how I'm going through my day. It's gonna give me a different outcome in my day, all right? So emotionally, you need to understand that your perceptions and your beliefs, that's a subconscious patterning that you need to be able to shift. What do you actually believe? People don't actually question their beliefs. They don't actually question what they really believe, which is a problem. See, if you never question what you really believe, how you gonna change anything? See, things you think is 100% right? It may not be right, in terms of truth, for everyone. See, okay, you hear somebody say, I'm allergic to avocados, I'm allergic to strawberries, right? That's not inherently true for everyone. See, if it were a law, everyone that picked up a strawberry would have an allergy. They'd get sick. An avocado, they'd get sick. But that's not true. It's only true for you because you made that true for you. You spoke it into existence. It's not, each time you say that, your cells have to go in when you pick up a strawberry, and your cells tell your entire body to get scared, to activate a sick response, an allergy response, because you created that belief within yourself. You can go and eat a meal or a dish, not know what the ingredients are. It could be the healthiest thing. Maybe have avocados in it. Maybe have strawberries in it. And you don't know. And you eat it. You didn't know nothing. Nothing happens to you at all. But then after the fact, somebody tells you, you say, hey, what was in that thing that you put in? And they say, oh, just a pinch of strawberries and you just, oh my God, some strawberries. And then you get sick right then. You was fine before that. You didn't put nothing wrong with you. So what happened? The emotion. You participated in losing all of your emotion. You're just sending it out somewhere. Energy, emotion, sending it out everywhere. Panicking for no reason at all. It makes no sense. That's not a law. That's a law that you made for yourself to shield yourself from something that you don't want to face. As crazy as it sounds, people do it all the time. All right, you have an injury, you're holding on to the injury. You have an allergy, you're holding on to the allergy. What story have you told about yourself today? What story are you telling? Because you got to look at the story, the way that you formulate the story of your life each and every day. You can formulate it in a good way, in a bad way, whatever way you want, but you can formulate the story. If you don't formulate the story in a positive way, you're going to have a negative story in your life, your entire life. Your identity is going to be stuck around this negative story, this sad, sobbing story to get everybody to go cry with you or sympathy. No, that's not it. You can be in a car accident, right? And you can say, oh, I almost died in a car accident. But that's not true. They're going to say, there was a car accident. And I was injured in a car accident, but I'm fine now. Not, there's a car accident and I almost died. It's the same thing that happened, right? It's a car accident. Just how you formulated what happened is completely different. Just how you formulated the story around it is completely different. See what I'm saying? So shame is this thing that I was talking to a gentleman today, Greg. He was the leader of the actual run that we went to. Greg was telling me about, he was telling all of us actually about shame. It's one of those things that people deep rooted in people. And it's like, you know what? It is rooted in people. But why? It's rooted in people because of the story. You weren't selfish enough, literally, in your self-care to look in the mirror every morning and affirm who you were. You was going to the outside to let the outside do it for you. And the outside won't do it for you. The outside's going to reflect back to you what you're doing for yourself. So if you aren't doing anything for yourself, the outside world is going to reflect back to you the lack of energy and effort you're putting into yourself. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. Sexually, financially, everything. It reflects back to you your lack thereof, attention that you're putting into yourself. You should probably look at it from a perspective of you should shift that. So emotionally, you don't have to participate in anxiety, okay? You're just sitting there worried about something that ain't even happened yet. That's what anxiety is. I'm worried about something that has not happened yet. Or literally, something I'm supposed to be doing, I'm refusing to do. So I'm getting anxious about it. It's just you, okay? So there's no, however you formulate it, it's still you. Okay, you know you're supposed to be doing this thing. You have a project to do or a show to do or a performance that you're supposed to be working towards it. The work behind the scenes is done by you. You don't have to go show somebody, record yourself, train it yourself or work. You don't have to get justification from nobody. You don't need that. Justify it from yourself. It's the work behind the scenes. It should come out in your performance. And how great your performance is, we gonna see. We gonna see how much work you actually put in, how much care you actually put in, how much you care. So again, selfishness in terms of physicality, your physical self, and your emotional self, how much do you care about yourself? How much do you love yourself? If you don't love yourself, you ain't gonna do nothing to make yourself better. Self-care. Spiritually, what does that mean? Spiritually, spirit breathing, your breath. Are you consciously aware of how you breathe each day, every moment in time, point, and space? Are you? Are you consciously aware? If you're not consciously aware, you should become aware. Because you can't accept anything from the field without accepting the breath. The way that you accept the breath is how you accept everything from the field. I used to be a person that could not speak very well. My inner was so toxic and so chemicalized. I was very rapid in my breathing. I was very rapid in my speaking, because I would always speak with a limited amount of air capacity. I didn't take enough spirit in to say this whole sentence that I want to say. I would take in this much. And shallow breathing. I focused on shallow breathing when I was younger, even up until high school, college, you know. And I had to understand the chemicals that were inside of me. I had to get them out. And trust me, you don't even know that this has an effect. You know, I was the person that went to GNC like every month. I would go to GNC. I would go get protein shakes, powders, you know, things to amp myself up. I know it was hurting me or harming me in any way, shape, or form. I just, within the last 3 years, began to do full-on, you know, supplementation with holistic means and plant-based means. I developed my own that you'll see also in the description, Awaken and Replenish and Ascension that I have. And I basically just use herbs, you know, herbs, transitional metals, and cymatics, so vegetable sound frequencies. And it works in 12 mineral cell salts. Dr. Schuster's 12 mineral cell salts. Because I understand that chemicals cause a disruption in my brain, but it's also in my belly. It's mostly in my enteric nervous system. This is the system inside your gut. The gut-brain connection is, I say, it's the most essential and the most important. Because this is where most of your mood and your hormones are created. This is where the effect on your mood really is heightened. It's in your gut. So because my gut was so bad, and trust me, I still had a six-pack. I was, I'm ripped up and everything. It didn't matter though. It was still affecting me in such a negative way. Spiritually, I could not accept anything spiritually. My awareness was so small. I wasn't conscious of anything. I wanted to hide in the cave all the time. I didn't want anybody to see me, even though I was out in the space. Right? My goal was to make it to the NBA, training all the time, traveling all the time, playing places, you know, working out for this team. And I physically, as far as my skill set, oh yeah, that's great. But then in the locker room, it wasn't working because my chemistry was bad. So I had no chemistry with anybody else because my chemistry personally was bad. Once I realized this is not how I'm gonna be for the rest of my life, you know, I started to look at it as, what professional athletes do I see sponsor holistic things? And I didn't really see much of it. I didn't really see anybody sponsoring things that are healthy, no matter how much money they made, how much success they had. They weren't really doing it. It wasn't a hot thing to do. The right thing was not the hot thing to do. And I just started to say, you know what? I'm gonna gravitate for something completely different. Still love the game of basketball. I still play it, still train myself, but spiritually, it was leaving me drained. You know, you don't want to be spiritually bankrupt, but you don't have anything to give out because you chose a career, right? Whether it's performing, whether it's acting, whatever it is, it could be anything, drawing, you know, whatever it is. If it leaves you drained of energy spiritually, you don't actually have any energy. You've got to understand that you need to be able to work to your full capacity, but have faith that nature is doing her part and that the creator is doing his part. Because I believe in Mother Earth and Father God. I don't really believe in my mom and dad, where they came from. You know, they came from the same thing I came from. So I don't believe it, you know, I'm not here because of my mom and dad. I'm here because of the creator. You know, I passed through them to come here. You know, I think people forget that it's bigger than them. Somebody started this whole thing. Somebody made this whole thing up. Something made this whole thing up and united us all. It's like you don't forget how small you're. A cell, okay, of the earth. We're a cell that provides the energy for the earth. We're all made of a community. How much is it? 50 trillion cells plus. They're probably gonna come up with a new number, but it's in the trillions. It's a lot. You know, your brain has what, 500 billion neurons in it. So just imagine your gut. That's like what, 400 to 500 times more. It's just ridiculous amounts. You're gonna keep on coming up with different numbers because you can't break it down small enough. You just realize that everything ultimately is energy. And that's where it comes to a spiritual place. You've got to be selfish to find a spiritual system within yourself that guides you every morning. So whether you get up in the morning, you meditate for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, an hour. I get an hour in sometimes. I do it based on what I need. Movement is meditation. So if you're moving, that's meditation. You know, whatever you need to do something that gets you into yourself spiritually. You have to do that because you can't get up every morning of every day living in fight or flight mode. Your autonomic nervous system is controlled by your enteric nervous system, meaning your gut. So that's why you have gut feelings. That's what it's called, gut feelings. So if you want to first unravel and get rid of your history, the story that you've been telling, you have to go through the gut. You have to cleanse the gut at the cellular perspective, okay? Because if you don't go to the cellular perspective, your cells are repeat copies of you. And you have trillions of them that have a charge. If you don't go in and format these cells, battery cells, you don't go in and format, you're gonna keep on playing the same exact story because the gut is gonna be connected to the brain to tell your brain how you actually feel. And you won't ever let yourself go over the hump and get back to a neutral perspective into a positive place. People start off inherently negative. They just live in a negative place in their head. And there's belly and then in their head. Doesn't matter what you have on the outside. It doesn't matter what success you think you see on the outside. 10 cars, 5 houses, an island, hundreds of millions of dollars. Great. First of all, that's great. Dream big. Dream bigger. Okay? But don't be the person that has to have an elevator inside their house because you can't walk up the stairs. That's not cool. I'm just telling you, that's not cool. I don't want to live in an office building. I want to live in my house. So if I can't even, go outside and play with my kids or run with my dog, I don't have any kids, but I have dogs. But when I have kids, I need to go out and play with my kids and my dogs. I can't be so bankrupt spiritually that I don't know how to be present. Because what good is it if I can't be present? So accepting the breath, 5 seconds in, inhalation, 5 seconds exhalation, perfect way to start. However long you want to do it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just giving y'all some tips real quick. How I started to develop my own self and just calm myself down. But mainly, it's separating yourself from caring what other people think. That's true acceptance of spirituality. What if you just woke up and said, you know what? I don't need anybody's affirmation today, confirmation today, acceptance today, acknowledgement today. I'm just gonna go out and be full. I'm full already. So here, let me give you something else. I'll give you some of me. I'll give you a smile or a hello or a greeting or I'll share. You see, people think that whenever they become 100% whole within themselves, they got to go hide in the corner. They got to go get a ranch outside the city and never be seen again or something. No, that's not it. Now you're wealthy, now you're healthy, now you want to go disappear. That's not it. You come back and you give the people what they're lacking in themselves. You come back and you show them this is how you're supposed to be. You don't gotta run. You don't gotta go nowhere. You see what I'm saying? You go back and tell them. You don't have to go nowhere. Just do this. It's gonna work out. No. They gotta shift their perspective. But you need to dream bigger. You need to have faith. So you should start by affirming. To ask the Creator, ask God, what do you want? First of all, because you can't have anything unless you know what you want. So spiritually, selfishness is saying, what do you really want? Because I can get whatever I want, right? Right, you can. Ask yourself every morning, what would I be doing if I wasn't afraid of anything? But you never thought about that. What would you be doing? If you weren't afraid of anything, how would you be living? Ask all the questions. Where would I live if I wasn't afraid of anything? What would I drive if I wasn't afraid of anything? How much money would I make a month, a year if I wasn't afraid of anything? What would my friends be like if I wasn't afraid of anything? What would my relationship be like if I wasn't afraid of anything? What would my family be like if I wasn't afraid of anything? What would my business be like if I wasn't afraid of anything? Just start asking and literally just put in attached if I wasn't afraid of anything. Because the fear was created by you and your lack of the spirit coming into you. It's you. You're the cause, that's the effect. So what if you didn't have that cause? What if you caused something completely different? I'm just getting you to think. Because I did. And once I did, I shifted my story. I changed the story, my life changed. Because I changed. You see what I'm saying? The world's going to be out there. The plan is going to be the same. What changes about the world that I'm seeing, it's not the world that I'm seeing. It's the person seeing, meaning me. I changed me. I changed me when I went out. Now I can see something completely different that I did not see before. It's just me. So think about it in that capacity. Fill that question up. All the answers you possibly can get. Sit there, take it in. But that's selfishness. Now, how do you get that? You close yourself off from anything coming in from people. They're going to shape you the way that you think they're supposed to tell you how to go. They think you're supposed to do this. Your parents want you to do this. All right, your spouse wants you to do this. Your girlfriend, boyfriend wants you to do this. Your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, your employees, whatever it is. All right, your boss, your manager, supervisor, they all want you to do something a certain way. Nobody asked you, what do you want to do? And then they probably did ask you. And you know what? You didn't know how to answer it. So you was like, whatever you like. That's the worst phrase I've ever heard. Whatever you like. So what do you want to eat? Just pick something. Whatever you want to eat is fine. No, it's not. Stop saying that. Don't do that ever. Don't do that ever again. It's gonna make your heart mad. It's gonna make your heart mad at you. Don't do that. Do not do this. If you can focus on self-care, selfishness in terms of self-care, I guarantee you'll build yourself up to the best possible person that you possibly can be. And then we get to the second part, which is separation. Now, what happens when people say selfishness? Oh, it's mine. Because you were taught as a child, like, this is mine. That person's selfish. They're not gonna share their toys with anything, or they're not gonna share their knowledge with anybody, or they're not gonna share anything. It's mine. I'm playing with it. You can't have it. No, that's not how it is. If you understand history and slavery, it's each one teach one. So you have to be a person that's available to teach another person. Now, the issue is that people aren't available to receive the knowledge many times because they just aren't there yet. It doesn't mean you stop putting it out. You don't have to stop putting things out because people don't accept it. They're not picking up what you're putting down. You may be in a space where what you're saying is only accepted by 1% of the world. And you ever thought about that? People just ain't there yet. You're a visionary. I like to call myself a visionary because I am one. Because I predict things that have not occurred and then they occur later on. You know, I believe you're going to have a plasma electric universe just a couple of years away from people understanding how your blood affects what you see out in the world. Plasma universe theory. You know, they started it already, but this is going to be a lot more as above, so below, as within, so without. That's how I look at it. But just because of a visionary, does that mean that everybody's going to understand what I'm talking about? No. No, I talked about gut-brain connection, and for years, even during COVID, I'm talking about acidity and alkalinity and why people who are more acidic get sick and people who are more alkaline do not, because you have more energy, like an alkaline battery. You're an alkaline salt battery. I got it from the ancient Egyptians. The Great Pyramid, largest salt battery on the planet, in my opinion. Powers everything up. It's a huge generator. You know, but again, you won't get to see that type of stuff because if you're living in separation, you're gonna say this person's on this end on an island over here, and I'm on an island over here. But that's not the case. It's called a collective consciousness. So I may be by myself on an island, projecting something outwardly, shouting something out to the world. They just haven't heard me yet because they're not aware. But when they hear me, it's gonna change. Now you see Teslas everywhere. In 2009, when Tesla started. 2012, when they first put out the Model S. 2016, when they first put out the Model X. So the S was the sedan, the X was the SUV. Now you see them everywhere. You can't go through LA without seeing them. All over the country they have them now. You know, I'm sure all over the world. They're shipping all over. You know, but it's just because that's the change, that's the shift. Electric. Now you're gonna see hydrogen coming up soon. People are gonna be charging up hydrogen cars in minutes. It's gonna take seconds to fill up your hydrogen tank. What's the number one, the most abundant element in this entire universe? Hydrogen. It's number one on the periodic table. Why not use it to power your vehicle? It's in our water. It's in us. You know, so think about that. But if you live in separation, you're never gonna know. Because you gotta understand this. Selfishness in terms of self-care is building yourself. It's getting yourself to a vitality level that's high. That's 100%. And it allows you to come back to the whole and give to the whole what you did not have prior. Right? But the whole did not have. And I mean the whole, like WHOLE, the whole. Okay, I'm looking at the whole because you're part of the whole. It's infinite. It's not a finite type of thing. It just keeps on growing as you keep on growing. You see what I'm saying? So like, don't think of fossil fuels as that's real. That's not real. No such thing as fossil fuels. There's so much space that's not excavated. There's so many things that we haven't checked out, that we haven't seen. Places that have been flooded. You know, when the tides change, you're gonna start to see things that are gonna be revealed. Cities that they had in the past that we didn't know about. Watch, I guarantee you. Guarantee you. They talk about the lost cities of this and the lost cities of that and Atlantis. That stuff's 100% real, I believe. But it's just covered up by some water. When that tide changes and the ocean shifts on this perspective, watch it come out. Oh, 10 years from now, this is how it works. You know, things are unseen, so you don't have to be afraid to fight it through. Okay, so I'm just going to remind you all, like, don't be afraid to fight your ideas through if your ideas aren't common. You don't want to be common. You don't want to be a conformist. That basically means you're dead. You don't have any spirit within you because you're not listening to who you're supposed to be and the purpose of why you're here. So separation, selfishness, is you thinking that you're on an island by yourself and you're not entangled with the whole. You are here to serve everybody else, but you have to figure that out, what you're here to serve them with. And you can only do that by being selfish. Once you figure that out from being selfish, self-care in terms of physicality, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, even. Let me actually go back for a moment. Sexually, people are very drained and bankrupt because they don't understand that sexually, that's where you get vitality, energy. What's called sexual potency, your ability to perform a sexual act. It's called sexual potency. Orgastic potency, this is coined phrase by Wilhelm Reich. You'll learn about Wilhelm Reich soon because I'll bring all that stuff back up too. He's basically the person that's like fathered wellness modalities. It's Reich. Orgastic potency is the ability to surrender to the climax of a sexual act, meaning an orgasm. You can have an orgasm just by Kegeling. If you know how to Kegel, you can Kegel, and the longer you hold the Kegel, the longer you hold that. So Kegeling is basically whenever you go out to use the restroom, you urinate, you went to the toilet to go pee, and you hold, you stop the flow, the stream, and you hold and you flex that muscle. All right, it's like a flap. It's inside your body. This is where the energy starts. Okay, it's at the base. So yes, it's basically at the base of your spine. It goes to the top of your head. You can do this if you just hold this kegel for as long as you can, and I mean flex as hard as you can, as long as you can. You have an instant, like a reset button. It's like hitting the reset button on an iPhone, and it sends the energy all the way up to your head. It's like an orgasm in your head. What does that mean? You just surrendered to the climax of a sexual act. Because at every moment in time, point in space, you have energy coming to you. If you can't surrender to it, all right, you're blocking your capacity for love. Because that's what that is. It's the capacity for love. So people get sick. Mental health is basically you blocking yourself from receiving love. So once you open yourself back up to receiving love, you instantly create a channel for all the energy to flow through you. Now you're healed. Instantly, it just wakes up. But the issue is you have to do all the other work, all right, to get back into the flow. Once you get back into the flow, now you're present again. Once you let go of the filters that you created, because you create them, your culture creates them, where you're born, what religion you were born into, how your family dynamic works, how your community works, your environment controls your thinking. Your environment controls how you respond. That's why you see electric cars and hybrid vehicles and cars with no driver now. They just use sensors. They're built into your skin. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Feet, hands. It's all built into your skin. So the environment controls your thinking. That's Dr. Bruce Lipton, biology of belief. So if you understand biology of belief, you'll learn epigenetics, which basically says you're above the genes. So sexuality, sexual energy, it's also you inhibiting the flow of energy. That's also something you need to be selfish about. Focus on your self-care in terms of sexuality. So now, society will tell you what to do. It'll tell you what they say is right, what they say is wrong, okay? There used to be taxes on pee. I'm not even lying when I say this. Look up urine tax. Back in the Roman times, they used to have urine that has ammonia in it. And so they used to use ammonia to do things, clean things, because that's what is in cleaning products too, and some cleaning products, ammonia. So there used to be a urine tax. So they would go into public restrooms and they would basically tax people. Like it's kind of absurd, but that's just how society works. It goes through waves and waves. It made what was right 400 years ago probably ain't gonna be right now. What was right 100 years ago probably don't be right now. Because it's different times. Times change. So you should too. The rules should too. The customs should change too. And people they just hang on. Like it's like, no, we can't. We have to keep science the way it is because we have to have a base of understanding something, but how about you just be open to what the truth is? The truth is going to keep evolving if you do. You're going to keep learning more truth if you just keep on opening yourself up to learn more truth. So separation does not exist because entanglement is real. You're living in an ocean of energy at this moment in time. So if you throw a rock into the ocean, you may have a rock that goes into the ocean and the waves are going to come out like this. They're going to come out and expand. The point in the center of a circle, that's the point. And it's going to radiate outward the entire time. If you have two rocks, two people, one's thrown right here, they radiate. One's thrown right here, they radiate. You may have them thrown at the same time, which then enables that waves to go to entangle. Now you have constructive interference, good vibes. That's what I had this morning when I, entangled with 10 other people, 11 other people. I wanted to go running and celebrate themselves this morning and have a great time. But then you may have where one's thrown one spot at one time, one's thrown at a different time. And then you have one wave that goes here, one wave that goes here. It cancels out. That's destructive interference. And what that means, it's bad vibes, complete opposite. What that says is you go around somebody who does not lift you up, that puts you down. They tell you what you can't do. They tell you what your limitations are, which don't actually exist. You don't have any limitations. You're free to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. You're free. As long as you can understand that you're here to perform for the whole, because the Creator's powering you up. If you just let it power you up, now that's where you get positivity from. That's where your attitude starts to shift. You become selfish in how you display yourself. You become selfish in how you care for yourself. So selfish is not bad. It's only bad if you tell yourself that I'm by myself. You're not by yourself. You're all together with everyone else in this entire realm. But you have got to separate yourself for a time to build yourself, to understand yourself. When you understand yourself, you understand me. You understand the person next to you. You understand your spouse. You understand your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad. You understand everybody. The animals, the plants, the trees. Because they're all made from the same thing that you're made from. They are made from the same thing that you're made from. So when you understand yourself, you now understand the whole. So you've got to take the time to be selfish and care for yourself. How much you love yourself is how much you're going to put that care in. How much do you love yourself? How much do you respect yourself? How much do you appreciate yourself? How much do you actually support yourself? It's going to determine how much self-care you actually put in. And then you go back into the whole. Not from separation. You become unselfish. Because you have so much to give. Because you realize that it's coming through you. It's free. It's infinite. It's free. I have all of this to give. I don't have to listen to this stuff no more. I'm just here to give. And I'm here to give back as I keep giving. That's it. That's it. You don't have to sit there to believe anyone to say, don't do any of that. Just go in and just name your value. How good you want to be. You want to be a gold medalist, silver medalist, bronze medalist? You want to participate in the Olympics? I want to be a person that wins the entire thing. Who do you want to be? How do you want to perform? You want to be a person that performs this way, this way. What do you want to do? You don't have any limits. You made them. So you can unmake them. The story was made by you. You can unmake the story. So being unselfish then is after you come to a realm of I have this much energy. Now I can give everything. Everything I ever dreamed, I can give it. What if I wasn't afraid of giving out this information? I would give it out. What if I wasn't afraid of sharing my wealth? I would get it back. Start telling a different story. And because the story that you're telling, it happens. It happens, 100% it happens. So just trust your instincts when it's telling you, hey, this is how it works. Drop your filters. Drop your filters and participate in life. Don't be so separate. Don't be so not vulnerable. On the contrary, be more vulnerable. Share everything that you've ever done. Be open and transparent and be accountable for what you're putting out. Once you look at it from authenticity, authenticity makes you healthy. Authenticity means you're not answering to anyone except the Creator. You're telling the story that's the real story. You're telling the real story. Not from how you perceived it whenever you were sick, or how you perceived it whenever you were toxic, whenever you perceived it when you were low consciousness and you had no awareness. Not from when you perceive things at that level. No, you're not telling a story from them. You're telling a story from the Creator Spirit within you, the Creator consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the oil mixed with the water, the Jesus Christ, the water and oil, the living water plus the oil. That's it. It mixed. It formed. You see? The caduceus pattern. It activated the cave. They call it the cave of Brahma. They call it the Garden of Eden. Your head, your mind. That's it. It activated the God within you. But once it activates the God within you, don't separate yourself. Far from it. Ingratiate yourself. Come back to the whole and give to the whole what they've been missing. Watch your world light up. Exercises for you to do. Write down 300 things that you desire, that you could use. 300 things that you can use, that you want God to give to you. 2025. Again, you might even get something for 2000. You have about 3 weeks left in 2 weeks left in 2024. You'll probably start getting it right then. Just write down 300 things. Ask everything that you want from God. Write it down. And I'm telling you, it does work. It works. God does keep all the promises. Every one of them. How long it takes, don't matter. Just expect it to come. That's called faith. If you guys found any value in this video, like, share, subscribe. I always put out 2 videos a week. And this is just a personal thing for me to go to share because I used to be very unselfish. But with my self-care, I prioritize everything over my self-care. And it left me feeling very angry at myself. Finally, when I prioritized myself and my self-care, I was able to come back to the whole with a different attitude, a different mindset, and a different shift in my perspective. It changed everything. Mainly chemically. I cleansed myself. I cleansed my cells, my enteric nervous system, my gut. Then I just reshaped myself subconsciously, playing affirmations that I created for myself overnight, every night. It just shifted my perspective on life because I believed it and I allowed it to do it. So, click a link in my description below if you guys are looking for a cleanse, a sub-kind, a detoxification that realigns your chakras, gets you to a mode of alkalinity, not acidity. People are so acidic that they're eating themselves alive. So what I first understood was alkalinity gives me my energy back, and then realign my chakras gives me my spirit back. I got both. So you can do a daytime formula, awaken, nighttime formula, replenish, and an activated dreamlike consciousness formula, which is even more powerful, infinitely powerful. It's called ascension. Just put it out. So if you guys are looking for more knowledge as well, my Become More Alkalign Challenge, it's at the end of every month, all right? Week-long, 5-day event, and looking for a more personalized approach to health lifestyle coaching. You want somebody to help you and guide you for a couple months to really get yourself and your life on the right path and your family on the right path. You can also sign up for my Generational Health Program, VIP. Thank you guys for tuning in to another insightful episode of the Alkalign Lifestyle Podcast. I hope you found today's discussion enlightening and empowering as you continue on your journey towards a healthier and more balanced lifestyle. Remember, small changes will lead to significant transformations in your well-being. Stay tuned for more expert insights and practical tips on living the Alkalign Lifestyle way. Peace.